Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Baseball Without Borders, the podcast from the World Baseball Network. Special guest today joining me from, I guess he's probably back home in Oklahoma, although he's been all
Oklahoma
over
City.
Mexico and the Caribbean the past couple of years. Joe Corbett, the reliever, this past year with the Leones de Yucatan, and then a Caribbean Series champion after last year with the Leones del Escogido in the Liga Dominicana. Joe, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk a little bit of baseball. This is going to be fun.
So, you know, you've had an interesting career because you started out playing Division I at Little Rock, and then you actually dropped down to Division II, which is, it happens fairly now and then. What was the difference between those two programs and those two levels like?
So I went from a mid-major D1 to a top-level D2, and actually, I would say my D2, we could have beat the D1. They're about the top. I'd say the top 10 teams in D2 can compete with most of the mid-majors. Probably not the top D1 teams, but just needed a change of scenery, change of culture. It ended up being the best decision I ever made to transfer because it all worked out. And after the top 10 D2, there's a big drop off in mostly depths. And D2 top D2 baseball is good baseball.
And it was kind of going from the opposite side of your home area in the Southeast. You went from Arkansas out to West Texas A&M. What was the difference just between those two places? Because Arkansas, it's kind of hot and humid, and West Texas A&M, I had to look up where it is. I had never heard of Canyon, Texas before, but there's a lot of places in Texas that I haven't heard of because I don't go there a lot. But it's kind of in the Texas Panhandle. It's flat, it's hot, it's dry.
Yeah, it was pretty much the polar opposite kind of cultures and scenery too. So Arkansas Little Rock is 4 hours directly east of Oklahoma City, and Canyon is 4 hours directly west of Oklahoma City. Arkansas, a lot of trees, a lot of greenery. Arkansas is a beautiful state if you just drive through it. Little Rock at the time, I was coming in my freshman year. It was the number one most dangerous city in America. A lot of crime there. The campus is kind of right in the middle of the crime. Nice baseball field, but it's in the middle of a neighborhood that's not great. And so I ended up leaving there, going to West Texas. West Texas is it's the plains, man. Anyone's ever driven out there, you can see a storm coming from tomorrow, basically. And nice people out there. I was welcomed with open arms. So two very different places, but I love seeing different places and meeting different people. It's part of what makes life great.
Yeah, Robert Earl Keen, the singer from Texas, has a soliloquy when he performs the song Amarillo Highway live, where he jokes that part of Texas is so flat on a clear day. If you look the right way, you can see so far that you can actually see the back of your head, which
it's true. It's true.
It's probably true. So, a lot of folks maybe discount Division II baseball as a place where you can advance to have a professional career from. But I've also had a number of scouts over the years tell me the same line, which is there are no secrets in baseball. If you can play, we can find you. And the Texas Rangers found you there. Take us a little, your minor league journey was interrupted by COVID. You kind of were all over the place. You went from Washington to Arizona to North Carolina, back to Texas. Take us through that a little bit. And what was what was it like having to literally miss a season because of the pandemic?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're right. If you're in your college, doesn't matter where you are. If you're good enough, they will find you. Even if it's West Texas, which is out of the way of everything. And then, the minor league journey was all over the place, seeing a lot of cool different places. The COVID year really, really hurt everybody, pretty much. I lost my age, 23 year there. 23 is a good year in development and a valuable year. You're not going to get that youth back. So that just I just lost a year there. And the person who saved us in the Rangers minor league system that year was Shin Soo Choo. I don't know if you remember, but he gave everybody every single minor leaguer $1,000. And at the time, being in the minor leagues, I think I was making $12K a year. That money was $1,000, but that money really gave me so much peace of mind and comfort and allowed me to just train and not have such tight of a chokehold with finances. So he saved us. I want to give a shout out to him. He saved us that year, and we're so grateful for him. We love him. But yeah, losing that year was tough, and there's no other way you can put it. We would all wish we could have that year.
Yeah, I mean, what I remember of that year was a lot of working from home. I had a 3.5-year-old son who was pretty stir crazy. My in-laws were living in the house next door to us. We couldn't even go see them because they're a little bit older. But how did you just keep yourself in shape? Were you just working out around the house? Did you have someone you could throw with? What did you do?
Yeah, I lived with my best friend Dom Yurgo. We went to college together. He was a closer in college. He got signed by the Oakland A's. So he was with the Oakland A's at the time. I was with the Texas Rangers. We both lived together. Him and his girlfriend at the time, and we threw every day, and we did a lot of outdoor workouts, push-ups. We ran around the block. We kind of just made it work. It was an interesting time for all of us, for sure.
And then you bounce out of the COVID year, and now it's back to playing baseball. It's not quite the same as it was before. The minor leagues have changed. There's been some contraction. What was the difference between, obviously Spokane was short season A that you played in the Northwest League. You come out of the COVID year and you split the season, I think, between Hickory and the Down East Wood Ducks in, I think that's the Midwest League, right? So,
Yes.
but because of the contraction of the minor leagues and kind of the youth movement with player development, how was the minor leagues different when you came back after the pandemic?
Well, if I remember correctly, that was 2022. That year, I think they eliminated short season as well.
Mm-hmm.
So short season had been eliminated. So that was the start of them kind of shrinking the minor leagues. And so that's like 20, 25, 30 spots right there gone already. So obviously the priority in these organizations goes to the guys who they draft or trade. Those are the guys who they like. That's who they're going to prioritize. So I was a draft guy. 24 years old. I was a 10th rounder. So they were like, I was a guy they valued. They're going to give me a couple of years to see how I did. And so, but I felt like after a year of not pitching, well, actually, let me rewind a little bit. The Rangers don't even know this, but I pitched in the men's league game a couple times. I threw like probably 15 to 20 innings in men's league. I threw 3 straight no hitters, and then the last game I gave them like 5 runs. The championship game. They don't even know that, but that's how I kind of stayed in shape and during COVID to keep my arm moving and stuff. But
yeah, and keep yourself mentally in pitching, right?
Yeah, I was like because as a player during COVID, as a pitcher, you can only throw so many bullpens, and you're just like, I'm tired of throwing bullpens. I want to see some hitters. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go out there and throw to some old guys. Some of them weren't so old, some of them were kind of good. But
yeah, I mean, there's a reason I don't play men's league baseball, and it's because I'm not good. I probably wouldn't be able to touch it, but you come back and all that happens, and I mean, you rose as high as Double A, and Double A, I grew up outside Trenton, New Jersey. The Thunder came to town when I was 14 years old. So I've probably been to 600-700 Double A games, and it's, it's really good baseball. I think people discount it a little bit because it's the minor leagues, and, Triple A is a step below the majors, but Double A is, no, like now, especially nowadays, you're seeing a lot of prospects. You're seeing a lot of top prospects. You're seeing a lot of top prospects that go right from Double A to Major League Baseball.
Yep.
To get there for a little bit, what did that mean for you on the journey?
It meant a lot. Getting to Double A. So for some guys, obviously everyone wants to make it to the big leagues, but for some people, making it to Double A is like their big leagues. And I wouldn't say it was my big leagues, but it was very special. It was very special. That's where I shook Kip Fagg's hand. Kip Fag is the scouting director for the Rangers. That's where I shook his hand and told him he gave me an offer, and I said I will accept that offer in the draft. We were there at Frisco, at the Rough Riders Stadium, and so for me, it was special to make it back to there as a Ranger, as a minor league player for the Rangers. The thing, it was playing in Frisco was awesome. Playing in that whole Texas League was awesome. I loved playing with my teammates. We won a championship, obviously, that year that I was there. 2022, we won the championship. It was unbelievable. Have that ring, singing my ring, playing against a lot of great talent. Who right now, when you watch MLB, I mean, either half of our team is in the big leagues somewhere, or a lot of other guys that we play are in the big leagues. So that's pretty cool to see. But making it to double A with the Rangers, I'm pretty proud of that. Considering at the time I was like, when I was in the minor leagues with the Rangers, I was throwing like 91, 92, 93. And that's kind of why I tapped out my potential at double A, is because I didn't throw as hard as other guys. So that's why I've excelled after my Rangers careers, because once I got released, that's when I started throwing 97. I started throwing 97, 95, 96, 97 after I got released. That's why I've been doing good in the Dominican, Mexico, and made a name for myself out here. It's because I got the velo after my minor league career. So it's been an interesting career if you look at it.
Where did that added velocity come from? Did you figure something out, or did you work with a coach that found something and you made a change, or did it just kind of happen?
Basically, with mechanical changes, I learned. I met up with a guy out of Arizona, worked out of his backyard. His name's Cam Hatch. He helped me change my mechanics, kind of understand my body a little bit better, and I made a couple mechanical changes on top of getting released. A lot of guys, when you get released, you're bad. You take it personally. I want to get better. I want to prove that I do belong. So I had an unbelievable work ethic, an unbelievable chip on my shoulder, along with changing my mechanics. And then that season, I went to indie ball, and I think I set like 7 records in indie ball that year from strikeouts and stuff, and that gave me the jump into Mexico, which then Dominican started calling, and I'm getting ready for Dominican this season, and it's just really crazy how some careers. I follow a lot of my teammates, and everyone's career is different in a way, and you never really grow up as a kid in America thinking you're going to play in the Dominican or Mexico, but for me, it's been absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
The first place you went in Mexico, Durango, you played a couple of places that drew some fans. The Rough Riders draw a pretty good crowd in Double A
Yep.
ball. The Railroaders draw a pretty good crowd in indie ball, and Durango frequently has dress like a seat night. What was it like going from a place that draws a crowd to a place that literally draws like some nights in the double digits? Because I've been following the Mexican League for 3-4 years. Durango has been in trouble for a while. It turned out their owner was running a Ponzi scheme. He lost the franchise. The league got a sports betting company to buy an expansion franchise and put it in the city. I mean, what was that like? What was going on there?
Mexico, man. There's no rules out there. There's no morals out there. It's just win, and if you don't win, the fans don't come, and everyone gets fired. But going to that first team in Mexico in Durango, I had no idea what to expect with Mexico. And we get to their stadium, and first of all, they're at like 6,500 feet. So that's 2,000 feet higher than Colorado.
Yep.
So my slider's not moving, my fastball's not getting its carry, my cutter is terrible, and you hit a ball 360 feet, it's going to go 400 feet there. So a lot of pop flies or home runs. So it's a tough place to pitch, no fans. But I'll tell you what I really come away remembering from my time in Durango was just the atmosphere of the Mexican League. It's different. It's the atmosphere. They play music all game, and this music is uncensored. The fans are uncensored, and People are smoking cigarettes in the dugout. There's no rule. Like I said, there's no rule. It's just a free for all. It reminds me of like 1975, 1980s baseball. Just, managers smoking cigarettes, but it's actually good baseball. It's the level is higher than indie ball. I'd say it's like, I don't know. Durango was the worst team in the league. We were pretty bad. Our defense was terrible, but um, I don't know. It's like the good teams in the Mexican league are comparable, like a AAA team maybe, and then the bad teams are like a high A team.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, the Diablos swept a preseason series from the New York Yankees 2 years ago, and I think the Sultanes de Monterrey split with the Red Sox this past year. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and you do see a lot of guys that probably, you know, before the contraction of the minor leagues would still be pitching in or playing in Double A or Triple A with an eye on making it to the majors, but they're, 28, 29, 30 years old. Teams prefer to go with the younger guys because they, can control their contract longer or pay them less or a
Yes.
combination thereof. Tell us what
Yes.
the recruitment process was like for Durango. Like, there was a guy that I know of from hockey that went over to play goalie in Russia, and he was asked what his recruitment was like, and the phone rang one day. They were leaving a game, and it was a number he didn't recognize, and he answers the cell phone, and it's just some guy with an accent and says, "You'll come play in Russia next year, yes?" Was it like that for Mexico?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that. It was like that. First of all, I got asked by my assistant coach in indie ball, who was a Mexican guy, Jose Amato. He said, I was having an unbelievable year. I was like sitting 97, striking out everybody. He said, "Would you be interested in Mexico?" And he's like, "I need to know in 2 minutes." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm game. Let's do it." And so I didn't hear anything for like a week, and then I get a call out of the blue from, like you said, just a random number. It was like a 13-digit number, and I'm like, "What the hell is? What the hell is?" I mean, I was in Winnipeg. We are playing up in Winnipeg, and this guy answers the phone, and I'm like, "Hello." He starts talking to me in a Mexican accent, Spanish accent, and I'm like, "Is this guy? This guy's in the cartel. Who? What? Who is this? This sounds like a drug lord." And I won't mention his name, but he knows who he is. And yeah, he's like, "We'll give you 7 grand to come for the week to come play for us. We're trying to make a playoff spot, and
Wow.
we need you out here. We need you out here. Like we need you out here tomorrow." And I said, "Okay." So
So what
it's a
was the
quick thing.
travel like
It's
from Winnipeg to Durango?
so the next day we actually we the next day from Winnipeg we had to drive back to Cleburne, which that indie ball. I don't know about that. Do you know about the indie ball travel and the
Oh
American
yeah, no, I,
Association?
I was I was a radio guy in minor league hockey. I've got my stories too.
Yeah. No, so you know all about it. Winnipeg is driving from Canada to Texas. And so
Yep.
I told the team in Mexico, I got to get back to Texas first, and then you can fly me out of Dallas. The team will drop me off at Dallas airport. And so we did that. It was like a 24-hour drive. And I flew out of Dallas, and then the team was playing in Puebla. So I flew to Puebla. And yeah, I think it was like a 3 flight day. And then I got there at Puebla in the night. I pitched that game. I was struck out. I think I struck out 2 out of 3, and I threw like 6 or 7 innings out of the bullpen that week because they were one game back from playoffs, and Durango had never made playoffs before. And that week we were on the road. We played Puebla for 3, and then Tijuana for 3. And that's where the Dominicans started calling me. Is because I showed up down there, and I was just punching the world, and they were like, "Who is this white guy down here?" Just like no one knows who he is, and he's dominating all these best players in the league.
Yeah, 10 Ks in 6 innings with Durango in 2023, and then Jalisco. You played for Benji Hill. We talked about this a little bit in Mexicali at the Caribbean Series last year. You put up great numbers down there, and they didn't bring you back. And then you end up going to the Toros del Este. What's the difference between those two leagues? Because obviously, both are very, very good baseball. Um, but they're in very different environments.
They are. They are Guadalajara and Mexico compared to Casa de Campo in Dominican Republic. Um, both of them were very fun experiences. Um, I enjoyed both of them. The Toros was my first winter ball experience. I did really well there. I just kind of tapered off my last game or two. My arm was getting tired. My numbers are better than what they say they were. Last game or two, I gave up runs because I was tired. They kind of made me go out there and pitch, but I didn't want to. And then, yeah, I signed with the Toros the next year, and I just kind of had a chip on my shoulder. I was like, Charles, like, you didn't want to bring me back. Like, I was way better than what you thought I was going to be. And so it just kind of had, just kind of had a chip on my shoulder as an athlete. If you have a good year and someone doesn't really respect that year and they don't want to bring you back, it's like that will make you mad, and that will give you a lot of motivation and drive to work hard and just show them who you are. So I did that with in the Dominican. Dominican's a lot different than Mexico. It's you play a different team every single day, and I was living in Casa de Campo in La Romana, which is an unbelievable neighborhood in Dominican Republic. It's the nicest place in Dominican Republic. They had us living in a really nice villa in a tropical mansion, and so that was really nice. Dominican, just everything. It's two different types of hitters in that league. I'll tell you. Like I can't tell you as a pitching, but hitting wise, two different types of hitters. Dominican is a lot of guys who are gonna try and take you deep. They're gonna try to hit a mistake 450 feet. And Mexico is a lot of contact hitters who are going to hit about 330, 340 with a lot of singles and doubles.
So what's the difference? I mean, obviously, like there's the difference in the hitters, but the philosophy of baseball, right? Like they're always waiting on that long ball in the Dominican. They're always trying to push runs across. Is the way or the philosophy, I guess, is that what you chalk that up to? I mean, and you also see, the difference in the two leagues. I think in the Mexican Winter League, the Liga Arco Mexicana del Pacifico, you see a lot of younger players. You see a lot of better pitching in that league than you do in the Liga Mexicana in the summer. And then the Dominican League, you have this just like wild mix of prospects, guys that are still playing pro, former major leaguers. Fernando Rodney trots out every now and then.
Yeah,
What's the difference there?
yeah, Mexico. So the Winter League is the better of the two leagues. They have winter and summer in Mexico. Winter's the better league because I think there's 12 teams in the winter. It's
10.
either 10 or 12, 10 teams in the winter. And then in the summer, what's there, 22, 24?
20
So there's
now,
only
I think.
limited 20. Okay, so it's half the amount. So there's limited amount of spots. So the better players are going to go to the winter. And there's less import spots in the winter. There's 7 in Mexico. And in the summer, there's 20. So, yeah. And then in the Dominican, it's just like, it's a lot of like, they were telling me in the Dominican last year, they try and keep it to like AAA and above type of talent. So it doesn't matter who you are. You could be Fernando Rodney. I remember we were spring training with the Toros last year, and Fernando Rodney just like showed up one day and tried out there when he was at like our team meeting, and he just walked up right next to me, and I was like, it was like the 5th day of spring. It wasn't even the first. It was like the 5th day, 6th day. It was just a random. It was Fernando Rodney. He didn't even say anything. He was just a nice, quiet, humble guy. I was like, that's Fernando Rodney.
Yep.
And
Still
I
with
think
his
he was
cap cocked to the side.
I'll tell you what, he's in phenomenal shape. I saw him working out, and I don't know how old he is, 46, 47. He is in phenomenal shape. Like he looks like he's about 25. But
And he still
yeah,
gets guys out.
he still gets guys out. His velo, doesn't have the velo anymore. He's like throwing 91, 92 at the top, and he still got that good shit. We were all, he would be throwing a bullpen back there, and there would be 10 of us, American and Dominican, back there watching his changeup, and he'd throw a good changeup, and we're all like, oh shit, but yeah, it's Dominican. It's there's Americans, and it's pretty much only Americans and Dominicans in that league.
So, you had a great season there last year going, you got 19 and 2/3 innings over 23 games with the Toros. And what a lot of people don't realize is that just because your team gets eliminated, that doesn't mean your season's over sometimes. And for you, you got picked up as a reinforcement by the Leones del Escogido. And you guys played an absolutely incredible championship series against the Tigres del Licey that was punctuated with the Junior Caminero home run that probably hasn't landed yet. And just as an aside, I've been at two different games the Rays were involved in the past 6 weeks, and said to the person next to me, Junior Caminero's up. He might be the best young hitter in baseball. And then he hit a homer once in New
Yep.
York and once in San Francisco. So take from that what you will. But take us through, the season ends for the Toros, but then guess what? Your season ain't over and you're getting some bonus baseball. How does that go?
Well, once the Toros had been eliminated from playoff contention, they let me go home. I was home for about a week, but they asked me before I went home, do you want to enter your name in the draft, like an import draft? And I said yes, absolutely. And so I knew I had to stay in shape for about a week. This was Christmas week, so it was like the 24th through the 30th. I spent it up in Washington D.C. with my fiance's family, and I was staying in shape. And then basically the 3 out of the 4 teams reached out to me and said, well, "We want to draft you." And I said to all of them, I didn't have a preference. I'm like, I'll go play for anybody. I want to win the championship for whoever picks me. And then Escobedo ended up picking me. I think it was like the first pick of the 3rd round. I think maybe the second pick, 10th pick, and which I was ecstatic about because I had a friend on that team, and number 2, Albert Pujols was the manager, which is unbelievable. My favorite player of all time growing up. And so I was ecstatic. I was like, let's go. And they flew me out the next day. And I think we had 1 day of practice, and then we started the round robin.
Yeah, and you guys end up in the final, and then you end up at the Caribbean Series, which what an experience that was last year. I've now been to 2 Caribbean Series. I went to the one in Miami, which was neat. You had 7 teams. It was in a major league ballpark. Miami's a very Latin atmosphere, but to be in Mexicali, where and they did everything in Spanish in Miami too, because cater to the crowd that is coming to the Caribbean Series, right? But to really be there in Mexico, even if we were 2 miles into Mexico or whatever it was, I think was a totally different experience and much more reflective of Latin baseball. But for the guys in the room, you guys knew you had a good team, and you knew the Charos had a good team too. What was it like through that week, and when did you guys reach a point where you knew you had a chance to win the thing?
We came in knowing that we should win. We should win it. The Dominican is. We feel like we're out there. I think. I spent 1 year out there. I shouldn't say we, but they feel like they are the best of all the countries, and so I feel like that too. And I was on that team, and I decided the best way to go about this is to just fully embrace being on that team. Whatever they think, I think. Whatever they care about, I care about. I want to win. And so I was like, man, we are the best. We should win this. It's a letdown. It's a failure if we don't win this. So we came in thinking we have to win this. We should win this. We have the best team. And it literally doesn't matter how good these other teams are. We are the best team. And so that was a quick week. It was 1 week of baseball. We had 1 loss. We lost to Venezuela. I had a bad outing that game. But yeah, every game was just like playing in Mexicali did a good job. There was a lot of fans there. They hosted a good event. There's a lot of adrenaline every game. It's just like you're playing for like kind of pride And like it was the first time I played for a country, and it wasn't even my country. But for some reason, I felt like I wanted to win for Dominican more than anything. I wanted to win for the Dominican Republic because they've done me so right. I love the people there, and that having that mentality really helped compared to just like, oh, I'm going to go do it for my career and for the money, because I don't care about that really. I want to win first. Obviously, having Pujols as a manager, going back to the round robin and playing for Escobedo, having Pujols as your manager, just as a player, you know, most of the now that he's a manager, all of the players grew up watching him, and obviously I think he's a top 5 baseball player of all time. He was my favorite player of all time. So playing for a guy like that makes you it makes you push so hard, and you want to be great for him, and which is a little different than other managers you've had in the past, because it's just like, this is business, this is baseball, this is what I do. But now that you're playing for Albert Pujols, you're like, I have to be good. I have to be good for him. I respect him so much. I love him. He's my favorite player. There's not gonna be an ounce of energy that I am gonna waste on that man. I'm gonna give it everything because I want to win for him. That's what a good manager does. They make you want to win for them. And he is a good manager. He's a great manager, and I love him. I love him a lot.
And you guys had a little bit of adversity that week too, because Pujols was wearing a mask in a few interviews. I know Johnny Cueto, the flu got around in that clubhouse a little bit. What was that like? Like, because I know I heard a rumor that Johnny Cueto had in fact gone to a hospital across the border to get fluids and treatment, and we knew that Albert was sick because he was sniffling and wearing a mask and everything like that. But how bad was it actually?
Yeah, I forgot about that. It was, I think it was the last game or two, maybe 2 games. Yeah, a bunch of guys were wearing masks, and Cueto did have to go get some fluids. Uh, Cueto's a good teammate, by the way. He's a really good teammate. I like him. He's a good veteran presence, like a big brother type player, and he'll help you out if you need anything. Yeah, it was just like a little bit of adversity, and we were all everyone just kind of, I think, had the same mindset, like why this really has to fucking happen right now, like really, but despite that, we all stayed together. We were just like, basically, fuck it, doesn't matter what stands in our way, we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna win this thing.
And you guys did, and it was a tremendously exciting final game between you guys and the Charros de Jalisco. And that was, one of the things you told me after the game was, I wanted to get this and give them one of those because they didn't want me this year. But, coming back this year, back to La Romana with the Toros, what are you looking forward to this season, this coming winter?
I'm looking forward to winning a championship with the Toros. I want the Toros to win the championship, and I want to be on the team when they do it. That's my only goal. They haven't made the playoffs in, I think, 4 years, and it's time for the Toros to have a good season and win the championship. Uh, they made a couple moves. I think they made the right moves, and I'm just excited to get back out there. I'm training right now for it. I want to show up in the best shape of my life and be as good as I possibly can for them. Whatever they need me to do, I'll do it. I want to win a championship with them.
Awesome. Well, we'll be following you guys this year from. Well, I'm going to be in New York, but I'm hoping to get down there at some point during the winter, and catch some games in the Dominican Republic, whether it's in Santo Domingo or La Romana or San Pedro de Macorís or wherever. Speaking of San Pedro, if you need reading for the plane, right above my shoulder here, The Eastern Stars by Mark Kurlansky, one of the best baseball books you'll ever read about the Estrellas Orientales in Dominican Republic. Joe,
Interesting.
where can our listeners follow you on social media if you do social media and want them to follow you? If you don't, totally fine to say no.
I would say you can look me up on Facebook, just Joe Corbett, or Instagram, also Joe Corbett, Corbett. Just Picture my profile picture is me in a yellow jersey signing an autograph for a kid.
And are you any relation to the Joe Corbett, who is a pitcher, shortstop, and left fielder for Washington, Baltimore, and the St. Louis Cardinals in the at the turn of the century?
No, no, I'm not.
No.
No, every time my name's looked up, some of our pictures kind of mix, but no, I'm not. He was, I believe, in the 1800s. That's different Joe.
Yeah,
I'm trying to outdo him.
It's always funny, like, you get guys with relatively common names, and researching winter ball, Mexican ball, Dominican ball, a lot of the same names pop up, and you have to differentiate them. So when I punched your name in, I was like, oh, there's Joe Corbett. Hey, they've even got a picture of this guy. And he literally played his last major league game 121 years ago, which is incredible.
I think it was the 1800s, which is just, you don't hear a lot of 1800s anymore.
No, and he was a 24-game winner for the Baltimore Orioles in 1897. So there's that too.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying
made 37 starts that year, 313 innings.
Oh my gosh.
What's the most innings you think you've thrown in a calendar year? Have you ever even come close to 300?
Probably the year I got drafted. I went as a starter all year. My senior year at college, I was National Pitcher of the Year at West Texas, D2 National Pitcher of the Year. I threw like 92 innings, and then I threw a couple innings at rookie ball, and then I went to Spokane through 20. But so what's that? 130?
116 and 2/3, according to Baseball Reference.
I would say 116. But I'll tell you what, I got a lot more in me. I got a lot more. I could throw 200 right now. I could.
Sweet. Well, hey, thanks so much for joining us on Baseball Without Borders, Joe, and best of luck this coming winter.
Hey, thank you. Great work, man. This is awesome.